Let's talk about this. Drew Dalman, center for the Atlanta Falcons, is a name that PFF has linked to the Chicago Bears. Now, they've got him as their overall free agent rank of 22nd on their free agent list, so fairly high. I mean, 22nd out of all the free agents out here. Talked about, they said an early season ankle injury knocked Dalman out of the lineup for an extended period, but he returned to produce at a high level. Typical of his resume, he generated a 78.8 PFF overall grade in his 9 games in 2024. Dalman made strides in pass protection this season, posting the lowest pressure rate of his career, with Coleman Shelton's short-term deal manning the middle of this offensive line set to expire. New Bears head coach Ben Johnson may opt to replicate the what's the word we said one day? Replicate,
yeah.
Replicate the success he found in Detroit with All-Pro center Frank Ragnow. Now, again, I always tell people, don't sit there and just look at the PFF numbers. Go actually watch the players. Go see how these guys look. The one thing that I like about Dalman when he came back, now came back a little bit later in the season, but did a really, really great job in the run game. He's a young player, 26 years old. I don't know if the Falcons let him out. I'm not going to lie to you. But 6'3", 300 pounds, but a great base. A great base, right? I know you hear those numbers and you go, wait a minute, that's Coleman Shelton numbers. A great base on this young man, does not get pushed over. In fact, does a heck of a lot of the pushing. Now in pass pro, all right, a little bit, I'll say average. But at this point, average is not a bad thing. My hope is that you can find somebody who you can rely on to snap and block
the basic
in the same play.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I see a name like this, number one, you don't have to draft a center if you go with a guy like Drew Dalman. He's a long-term piece. Like I said, he's 26 years old. You're probably talking about signing him for at a minimum 4 years, get him to that age 30 season, kind of see where he's at. He's a piece for you for the future. He has played really well. And I think this is great for Ben Johnson's system because, and again, I think people have to remember this. Ben Johnson's system is running the football. It wasn't until everything got into place that he started passing the football heavily, and he had all his offensive linemen in play. His system is running the ball. He wants to get off the bus running. And so to me, this is a perfect guy for that, who also can add in that play action when Caleb wants to run that and be able to hold up in that pass pro, different things like that. But I like a name like Drew Dalman on the offensive line. What are your thoughts on a Dalman to Chicago, JC?
Oh, like a Drew Dalman. I mean, honestly, anything that would be better than a Coleman Shelton kind of tickles me a little bit. Like that isn't that hard to replace, but it gets me a little hot. Gets me
all right. Okay. All right.
Sorry. All right.
Is that pure and utter domination?
Yeah, pure and utter domination. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That was Coleman Shelton going by.
Very cheeks. No, Dalman, you know what? He's actually rated the number 4 center. I read out of 40 qualifying centers. So I mean, there's that. Obviously, he'll be the top center on the free agent market. I'm looking at his contract. He played out his first rookie deal 4 years for $5.5 million, a little bit over that, with a base salary of $3.1 million. It mentions that if you connect him to like any other center, they have him connected to Titan center Lloyd Cushenberry, who he outperformed, and Lloyd had a 3-year, $50 million deal. So what is that, about 15 per, I think? No, yeah, a little over 15 per, about 16 or 17 per. So are you saying that, you wouldn't mind having Dalman, like you said, he's 26, you give him maybe for 4 years, 16 per? Would you be okay with that? Again, this is the offseason for opening up the checkbook and keeping it open constantly for all of these guys on the offensive line. We had one of the cheapest offensive lines the past couple of years. I want to make sure we have one of the most expensive offensive lines going into this year. I mean, I do not care what it will take. This is a name that I like. as you mentioned before, there's a certain look to him that I think Ben Johnson likes with the way he wants to play his offense, being a little bit, and like you said, stout in the bottom part of his area, in the bottom regions.
Yeah.
You like
Strong loins on this guy.
strong loins,
Strong
good
loins on
base,
this guy.
as you said, good base, good tree trunk. So that's what we want.
Built like
I have no
Kyle
problem
Lowry
with
down
it.
there.
A little Kyle Lowry, little Michael Sweeten. Good base,
Oh, okay, all right. Little BBL Drizzy.
little bit.
BBL Drizzy.
Side note, did you see that Drewski audition?
Yes.
When the dude
I sent it to the chat.
Oh, that was you that said it. Oh, okay. That was you. Okay. All right.
Oh, boy had the BBL. He was the BBL rapper or something like that.
BBL.
Oh, bro, I saw that. I was in tears, dog. I was like,
Lord
my
have mercy.
God. Hey, look, that Drewski be having some. Shout out, Drewski.
He said, "Pow pow" or "Pow pow."
Right.
Like what?
That's how I want my centers built. Shout out Paulie G. Said Paul's got to do a good job at free agency and pick some good linemen in the draft. If a top 5 pick falls to us, draft them immediately. Let's not overthink this and get cute. This will define him 100%. Listen, and I think that this is something why you want to go with somebody who's proven at the NFL level. This is why you want to go with a center who has proven it, because we're talking about drafting guys in the second round, in the third round. And not to say you still shouldn't take some high caliber players that maybe are a little bit versatile. I mean, we talked about why can't I think of his name? Gray. No. Old boy from the Senior Bowl.
In the draft or in free agency?
In the draft, and the old boy from the Senior Bowl, Gray Zabel.
Gray Zabel. The second round.
We talked about a Gray Zabel, right? To me, he's a guy who is an interchangeable piece that you still could take in that second round. Do you want to play him at tackle? Maybe he does project as a tackle. Do you want to take him play him at guard? Might be able to do that as well. He kind of comes in my mind, is that Tevin Jenkins kind of piece is very versatile. But if you want to have your center be a center, I like versatility. I don't like versatility as my starting center. When I'm looking at the center position, Jake Majors got me tingly.
Yeah.
Because that boy don't do nothing but snap and block.
That's it.
And so, like, if you can find a guy, and I think it depends on whatever you do on one, it opens up opportunities for you in the draft. If you sign a guy like a Drew Dalman, now the only thing I'm worried about in the draft is, okay, can I find a guard in here at some point? Maybe Karan projects as a guard, but I'm just not very high on Karan. He's got a lot to prove to me, but maybe Karan projects as a guard. But can you find a guard here? You're probably, I still think you have to go out and sign Trey Smith.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, you're investing money in the offensive line, but also still a couple of draft pieces that, whether they play this year or not, here's the thing too. If you want to start I saw the Ben Johnson comments. That's hilarious. If you want to start Braxton Jones this season and slowly work somebody in, I'm here for that. I'm here for that. I'm not. Because I understand, right, that there may not be a left tackle on the table, but there may be somebody that you're able to find. Again, a Gray Zabel, right? There may be somebody who you look at and you're like, yeah, he's here, but we want to make sure that he's here. And what I mean by, I guess, maybe not into the season, but if you want to start training camp with Braxton as the starting left tackle, hopefully you draft somebody that beats him out. I just think that getting it right in free agency is going to be so important, because if you get that right, it makes your draft board that much bigger, to where now I don't want to do it, but
you get
if a Cam Scatterboo is there and we're in the third, and we're in the third round,
you're dang right.
I can stomach it a little bit more, because I've got 2 offensive linemen signed and probably have drafted 2 at that point.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll take a Cam Scatterboo in the second round.
I know you will.
Isn't that right? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you're see how you want to respond to that.
But no, I personally come here, JC. Take that with you right there.
Oh, God.
Just
No, I really think that
Ken Scatterboo in the second round, huh? I've been there.
I don't know what's going on with my computer right now.
Your computer's having a stroke, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's having something. I don't know if you all can still hear me, but what I was going to
I
say,
can hear you.
yeah, as long as I'm coming in clear. My point that I'm making is like, yeah, you want to attack the free agency, like extremely aggressively, like and I'm sorry, Braxton Jones. I've had enough of him being the starting left tackle. I understand that maybe if we were to get Trey Smith, we were to get a Zeitler, or we were to like go into the draft, we were to get Will or someone else who can be a guard, then fine, you're okay with shoring up most of the line and still going into the season with Braxton. Heck, at this point, go after Ronnie Stanley in free agency. I just need somebody better than what we have at left tackle, because I feel like left tackle. Okay, all right. Well, let me go ahead and refresh.
Do a little reset right there, JC. Do a little reset. We'll get JC back in here in a second, man. No, listen. I think here's the big thing though, moving forward. Free agency is going to be massive for the Bears because there are offensive linemen out there that we didn't expect to be out there. Now, is everybody going to hit the open market? No, right? These are just some names that are actually out there right now. I do think that there's some pieces that you look at that you're just like, there's no way this guy is going to actually be available to you to go out there and sign. But the one thing I will say is when you're starting with a guy like Trey Smith, if that is the case, because it does seem like he is going to at least be one of those pieces that is available. If you're starting with a guy like Trey Smith, you're starting in a good spot. It's just one thing that you can check off that you could say, I don't have to worry about him knowing how to do his job. That's what I'm excited about with some of these free agent signings. And listen, if a Drew Dalman is out there and I get Drew Dalman and Trey Smith in free agency, I fixed a major portion of my offensive line. A major portion of my offensive line. In 2 signings. At least for me, I feel like from center to the right side, I don't have to worry about anything. Now, y'all know how I said I'm not. I know Joel put his people movers list up yesterday, and he's still got Tevin Jenkins on this team. I don't know if you can bring Tevin Jenkins back unless it's at a ridiculously team friendly price, and I'm talking about dang near disrespectful to offer him the contract. Dang near disrespectful to offer him the contract. Like you can't go into this paying people that you can't rely on to be out there. You can't go into this and say, I'm going to pay somebody who I know is going to miss half of the season. Just because it's incentive laden doesn't mean that it's the right move. Well, we don't have to pay him that much if he's not out there. Yes, but my quarterback's dead because there's nobody on the left side of the ball. So I'm out on Tevin Jenkins coming back here. I love Tevin when he's healthy. I love him as a player. I think he's great to have on the team. But I need bodies that are going to be out there. I would rather have, and this sounds crazy. This sounds crazy to say. I would rather have Matt Pryor out there than Tevin Jenkins. Because at least I know he's huge. Pause. Jesus, Pat. That was nuts. At least I know that he's a massive human being. And he's going to be out there for most of the games in the season. I'm not paying money to somebody who I know is not going to be out there. And then at left tackle, I think there's pieces that, but at left tackle, there's pieces that you have that you can figure it out with. Right? That you either go with Braxton and draft somebody and try and work him in there at that left tackle spot, or you just go out and get a left tackle as a whole, right? Take a Kelvin Banks at 10. I'm here for that. Take a Will Campbell at 10. I'm here for that. But the most important thing to me right now is addressing the big money pieces. You address the big money pieces, you get that side of the line right. It's something you don't have to worry about. And I think Dalman does that. I've said Dalman. I've talked about Ryan Kelly as well. as a name that I would be interested in bringing in, because here's the thing. I'm not looking for, now if I go Dalman, I'm having a different conversation. If I go Dalman, right, that's my center of the future. I'm signing him for 4 years. He is the guy that's going to be with Caleb Williams through this entire process. You got to make sure that that's the right move. I think it is. When you look at a lot of his numbers, when you look at his tape, he looks like a really good center. But when you look at the flip side of this whole thing, when you look at some of the other options that are in the draft, if you go with a guy like a Ryan Kelly, maybe a little bit shorter contract, couple years here, come in, show him the ropes, kind of get some things figured out. You take maybe a later round center. Because if you're taking a second round center, he's playing. But you take maybe a later round center, somebody you see something in that you can develop while Ryan Kelly is here, kind of that bridge, boom. I'm fine with that as well. It's Jordan JC joining us again. Let's see if that internet's fighting back a little bit.
Christ.
Oh, there he is. Now coming through loud and clear. There he is, my boy.
Yeah, it's about a goddamn time.
Yeah, you've been struggling the whole show, brother.
Sorry about that. Jeez.
You're all right. You're all right. Nah, you got that AT&T.
How dare you have Xfinity?
Oh no, Xfinity, you've let him down. Well, you're back. So, Ryan, 400 in a check. 400. There he is. All right.
Heard you talking about Ryan Kelly. Is that right?
Yeah, listen, I think you have two options here. Dalman's your long-term option, and I brought up Ryan Kelly as the guy who maybe you go with a little bridge option there. Maybe you go with a you want to draft somebody third, fourth round as a center, which is fine. You find third or fourth round centers, but you want to draft somebody later and you want to work them into that lineup. You go with a Ryan Kelly in that situation. If you want to go, listen, I'd be pissed, but if you go with Kelvin Banks 10, you take one of the defensive ends in the second round, and you go with we take a running back at 41. But if you go with a position player, right, somebody on the edge or somebody maybe in the middle,
Marion Hampton,
yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Okay, all right.
Then I could see you maybe taking a later round center. That's where Ryan Kelly makes more sense to me.
Okay. I could see where you're going with that. A lot of people in the chat are saying that you approve of drafting of trading down. Because when I had mentioned, I know that like maybe would you even come out of that 10th pick, draft down, and you know who I said I wouldn't mind actually getting as far as offensive lineman, Joshua Simmons, tackle from Ohio State. That would get me tingly because of his potential as the top guy had he not gotten hurt. And then you can also get more and more draft picks coming along with that. My thing is just go about this right. Like, again, attack it in free agency the right way. Get a good two guys. You start out with Trey Smith, you're going somewhere. That's key number one. Get the guard. Get the guy that's going to set the market. Get the guard. Get the guy that you don't have to worry about next to his buddy in Darnell Wright. And then try to address guard on the other side or center, one or the other. And then you go into the draft, which you got 3 strong linemen already on that draft, already before the draft starts.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. Then that's when you can get a little, quote unquote, luxurious. I wouldn't get a running back. I know I keep joking with you about running backs in the first round. I wouldn't go running back. I would still address that in the first round as far as tackle or guard. But when it comes to that 39th and 41st pick, maybe you can get a little spicy. So
you know what I love about Bears fans is we will watch an entire season of a quarterback die.
Yeah, that's true.
And the second a good running back is named, everybody wants the running back.
You know what though?
It blows my mind. I remember just watching Justin Fields just get eviscerated last year, and the first thing Joel said was, "What if we signed Saquon Barkley?" I was like, "What the? What?"
That's to that point. That's a smooth transition because I actually listened to a short from Carmen and Yurko, and Yurko was talking about. Yes, talking about Ashton Jitty and Yurko, like immediately, like was disgusted. He was like, "Well, why would you bring him here? you have to address the line first. And he said, well, he's an all-time talent. He said, well, look at Saquon Barkley with the Giants. Look at what he did there, and then look at what he did in Philly. And then he asked the question, well, what's the difference? Obviously, the offensive line.
Yeah.
You got to take care of step one first before you get the shiny running back that you think is going to dominate. But you need the guys in front of you. You need the big guys, the big dudes that are going to, push people up front and give him yardage, give him holes to run through. So
yeah,
it makes sense. Address the trenches.
Listen, I told you when we get to the point where we're ready to hire running backs and we're ready to do it, that's fine. We can do that then. But like I'll advocate for going out and getting a Saquon Barkley type running back if the offensive line and the defensive line and the linebacker room and the DB room and the wide receiver room and the quarterback is fixed.
A lot of rooms. First.
Like it's just it's asinine to do anything else. And you watch these mugs, and we watch Derrick Henry. My mugs are like, well, Derrick Henry still rushed for 1,500 yards in a season where he had a bad offensive line. I'm like, first off, Derrick Henry's massive. Second off, he also got hurt because he was running behind a bad offensive line.
True. Yeah.
Saquon Barkley got hurt because he was running behind a bad offensive line. Now Saquon Barkley is sitting here. Dang, Jay Beige just coming right out there. Oh, okay, all right.
Oh, yeah,
all right, that's tough. Jesus, a little aggressive there.
Where'd that come from, Jay?
Yeah, appreciate the view. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, that's right. Sip that tea.
Oh, by the way, as I did that, over 500 500. Thanks for being a part of the 500, Jay.
Shout out to you, Jay.
But no, man, just to me, it's a mute conversation when we're talking about the running back position. I'm only talking about tackles, guards, and centers in this draft. And I'll take a defensive end. Throw me a defensive end out there. I'll be in on that as well. Before we get up out here, shout out to Darren Wells with the Super Chat. I was told Bill Simmons will be a defensive line assistant coach. Not that I've known. He's the defensive line coach as far as I heard.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Here's the thing too. The Bears haven't made this official yet. This came from, let me double check what buddy name is so I don't get it wrong. But he's down in the Houston area where the Houston Roughnecks are. Aaron Wilson, who covers the NFL for KPRC Channel 2 down in Houston. Houston's NBC affiliate. Covers them for NBC down there. So this came from him. Maybe it is an assistant coaching position. I haven't heard that, though. From everything I've seen, this is the defensive line coach.
He just says defensive line coach.
Yeah, so. But hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. We'll be back later today.